Welcome to our tutorial about music hardware needs. In this tutorial, we'll be reviewing some general hardware requirements for working with a digital audio workstation. These days, the power necessary to run a DAW on your computer is pretty common. During the last two tutorials, I covered your minimum system requirements, but remember that more is better when it comes to processing audio files, especially if you're working with video, which is really resource intensive. Get a wheel mouse. Although a regular 1 or 2 button mouse works with Cubase, you can improve your productivity and efficiency a lot by using a wheel mouse. It'll really help with editing as well as scrolling. Processor speed. While Steinberg recommends at least a 1.5 GHz processor, you would be much more comfortable with at least 3 GHz, especially if you've got a lot of inputs and large files. Cubase will also support multiple processors, so feel free to stack them up. RAM. The more RAM you've got, the more audio channels, plugins, and effects you can run at the same time. 1 GB of RAM will serve you a lot better than 512, but get at least 2 if you can. Hard drive size and speed. Audio and video processing take up a lot of space. 1 minute of CD quality stereo audio needs 10 megabytes per track. Your 3-minute song with 5 tracks would need at least 150 megabytes of space. Your audio drive needs to be big. You're going to need at least 100 gigabytes to feel roomy. The faster your drive reads, the more tracks and plugins you can run at the same time. The quantity of info your drive can read is known as the sustained transfer rate. Watch for that term when you're buying some hardware. If you can only use one hard drive, partition it into a drive for your operating system and programs and a drive for your music recording data. However, it's always preferable to have a second hard drive. A second drive improves the performance of your recording and playback when you've got large sessions or use a lot of live plugins. You should record only to your system drive when you can't install a second hard drive, like, for example, if you're on a laptop. While a laptop is great for portable recording, to be comfortable at home, you'll want at least 2 monitors, especially while you're mixing. Then you can keep your project window in one monitor and your mix window in the next. Make sure you back up your work frequently on an external hard drive or external media, and maintain good archives on external hard drives or other media. Keep enough space free on your system disk so that your computer can transfer quickly, which is really important when monitoring your audio and video. If you're on a Windows platform, be sure to do your disk maintenance by cleaning and defragging on a regular basis. While your audio interface needs to suit your needs and budgets, you need to consider as well how many inputs and outputs you have to have, portability, etc. There are so many products on the market today, and most are compatible with Cubase technology. This course is filmed with an M-Audio Firewire product. Ideally, you'll want to record your audio in 24-bit sound and then dither it down to 16-bit CD quality. If you're preparing soundtracks for DVDs, you'll need to record at a 48.1 kHz sample rate. So your audio interface will need to support that. You're going to need some decent monitors. While headphones are great for late-night quiet work, don't use them for mixing. Now, what about your home stereo? Well, most consumer systems have built-in EQ curves that add sheen to your sound, but studio monitors will present your material with accuracy. A good microphone is a must if you're going to record with accuracy. The topic of microphones is huge and very subjective. Some people swear by the sound they get from the cheapest dynamic mic, and some will only work with the high-end pieces. Well, the best thing to do is experiment. Find an audio shop that rents microphones. It'll give you a good chance to check out the sound. Read different product reviews before you buy. Recording Magazine does good, objective product reviews. Vocal mics have different qualities than instrument mics, so it's important to take the time to get the right mic for your purposes and sound, as the quality you get out is only as good as what you put in. Also, you'll need to take the time to figure out how to mic your instruments. I would say that of the recording process, the trial and error in setting up the right input is the most time-consuming part. It's also the single most important part in determining the quality of your output, so do take the time to get this right. I cover more on this topic in my general course on digital audio recording, mixing, and mastering. Let's talk about MIDI. If you want to use MIDI with Cubase, you'll need a MIDI interface for connecting external equipment, and most audio interfaces and sound cards come at least with one MIDI in and out. You'll also need a virtual or external MIDI instrument where the sound can play and the audio equipment needed to listen to it. Your electric keyboard is one example of an external MIDI instrument, but you can also use an external MIDI controller that doesn't make any sound. Cubase comes with 6 VST instruments, or virtual instruments, so you'll have a lot of different high-quality sounds to choose from. There's also a lot of virtual instruments on the market that are compatible with Cubase. I love the Motu products, symphonic instruments, ethno instruments. I use them pretty frequently in my work. This concludes our tutorial on music hardware requirements when you're working with a digital audio workstation.